Well, we had planned to leave at 4 a.m. in the morning, and the reason for that being that it was necessary to travel through the Great Sandy Straits on an incoming tide. Unfortunately, during the evening, a number of boats had anchored up around us, which meant that we were unable to depart in the dark and had to wait off until daylight. We had no idea at this stage how much trouble this would get us into. The reason why this area is called the Great Sandy Straits is that it is strewn with sandbars and vegetation, as you can see by the tree just appearing out of nowhere. Shortly after we ran aground, which was out here, Steve decided during this stage that he would head up the mast to actually oil the tracks, which he had been hoping to do for quite some time. So up he went. The actual mainsail had not been up for a number of years, so it was the perfect opportunity for him to lubricate the track whilst we waited for the tide to change. We then decided to hoist the sail, hoping that the wind may actually cause us to move off the sandbar. We then decided that that may not be such a good idea, as it appeared we were high and dry. There was no water underneath our boat. It was time to actually think about getting the dinghy down. It was not possible to lower the motor down to the dinghy due to the length of the rope, which meant that Steve would be rowing. We were now worried that Annie T would tip over on her side. We sat there for around 6 hours, watching Annie actually balancing on her keel. A number of boats went past us and also ran aground, whilst they were taking photos of Annie balancing on her keel. At this stage, we can honestly say that we were both very concerned that maybe our dreams were over. Seeing the bottom of Annie again. One would have thought it would have been while we were diving. It will only be seen when we know that we were safe. We then thought that the water had risen sufficiently for us to climb back on Annie without her toppling over. Once I actually climbed on the rear of Annie, she decided that she was going to sink further into the sand. The tide came in, we got back on, and next thing we knew, our anchor wasn't holding and we were floating back down the river with a lot of water under the keel. Now to head to Kingfisher Bay, as originally planned. We had a relaxing time at Kingfisher, a little bit of fishing, watching some amazing sunsets, and also a number of excursions to the Kingfisher Bar. Kingfisher. We've had a wonderful time here. Still a few issues with the electrics, but apart from that, it's been a beautiful anchorage. Time to head to Bundy. On our way to Bundy, I decided that it was time for me to see if I could hoist the Genoa on my own, which I did. Skipper did indicate that it took Gilligan approximately 30 minutes to get it back in. Lucky there wasn't a lot of wind.
Annie snug as a bug in a rug between the two big boys and very much protected from the wind. Phew.
We did end up having drinks and a lovely dinner on Charmer with Brett and Kathy. What a wonderful evening, and just what the doctor ordered. We organised for the haul out of Annie, which happened the next day, and then checked the keel and advised the marina that we were ready to return back into the water. They advised us that they were busy and we couldn't go back in for 10 days. This meant our adventure was over and it was time to head home. Cyclone season was quickly approaching. We decided to leave Annie T in Bundaberg whilst we returned to the GC for birthday parties, doctor's appointments and a quick catch up with the family, then to return to Annie to do a few minor chores before we actually endeavoured to bring her home.